All right. Today's lesson is going to be about writing equations. So I'm going to go ahead and label my paper Writing Equations. If you haven't had the opportunity to see the previous lessons video on equations and number sentences, it covers variables and kind of algebraic expressions. That would be a great place to start because we're really going to be kind of working on the same types of things within this lesson, and those are prerequisite skills for you to utilize. All right, so what is an equation? An equation is a number sentence that says two quantities are equal. For instance, when we look at things like 1 plus 2 equals 3, that is an equation. It's a number sentence that shows that 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. If you have something that looks like this, 1 plus 2 equals 1 plus 2, it's showing you that two quantities are equal. So in your lesson, it gives you a word problem, and it tells you some information about a lion cub, and it shows you how to create an equation using the information that they provide for you. One of the things that they talk about is a variable. So vocabulary that's important for you to know is the word variable. So we have equation and variable. A variable is a letter or a symbol that represents a number in a number sentence or an equation. For instance, a lot of times, the most used variable is x, and it usually looks a little bit like this. So it's a little bit more curvy and maybe even more slanted and italicized than what you normally see. So somebody might say 4 plus x. That's a number sentence. 4 plus x equals 7. That's an equation. When we have an equation, we can usually figure out what the x stands for if it gives us what it's equal to, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later. However, what you need to know is that it is a letter or a symbol that represents a number in a number sentence or an equation. It can be any letter of the alphabet, just so you know, but most used is x. So remember also that it is important for you to know those signal words for addition and subtraction. And so if you go back and refer back to the chart that we have talked about, we've talked about words that mean addition and words that mean subtraction. Okay. Words that mean addition would be add, sum, altogether, including, more, like she had 4 shells and then Melissa gave her 4 more. So subtraction are the words subtract, difference, more than, compare. Let's see. What else? Less or fewer. Decrease. And I'll put increase over here. So these are just a few words that might be trigger words for these operations. It's important because you're going to be asked to write number sentences or equations based on information that is given to you. So you have to know what words to use to help you. It will eventually include multiplication and division, but we're going to start out with addition and subtraction. So let's look at height of children. Okay, so in my house, there's Mr. Cito, and Mr. Cito is 5 foot 8 inches tall. All right. Mrs. Cito is 6 inches shorter than Mr. Cito. So she is 5 foot 2 inches. So let's pretend for a second that we didn't know Mr. Cito's height. We're going to say S for Mr. Cito minus 6 inches equals 5 foot 2 inches. This is an equation where we've used words and explained a situation, and then we've turned around and used numbers and a variable to represent what is being asked. If we said that Mr. Cito is 6 inches taller than Mrs. Cito, we would put it like this. We would say 5 foot 2 inches plus 6 inches equals Mr. Cito. Okay? So a couple things to remember. Let's just kind of go over this again very quickly. An equation has an equal sign, but an expression does not. And an equation shows that two quantities are equal. So you need to be able to distinguish between which one of these is an expression and which one is an equation. Remember that if it has an equal sign, it is an equation. So there's one in here that I want to kind of go over the question with you. And I'll go over something with similar numbers just so that you are aware of how to do it. So let's say a number is added to 24 and 11 is subtracted. The result is 52. So if we were going to write an equation to correctly represent these sentences, we would start with a number. Is added. We don't know what the number is, but it's going to be added to 24. The way that we would write that is a number. So we would pick any variable that we wanted to, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Just for the sake of consistency, I'm going to use X added to 24. Okay. And 11 is subtracted. So that means after we add the 24, we're going to subtract 11. The result is 52. So result meaning it's going to equal 52. Okay? So we can use the words that were given to create a numerical equation with a variable. So let's pretend like it's a word problem. So let's say that Annalise had some cupcakes for her birthday. She gave let's go with 3 to friends in class. So she had 9 left. Okay? When we look at this, we know that Annalise had some cupcakes. We don't know how many cupcakes Annalise had, but we know she had some. She gave 3 away, and she had 9 left over. So some cupcakes, we're going to use the letter C to represent cupcakes. Remember, it could be any letter of the alphabet. But we're going to use C for cupcakes. She had some cupcakes. She gave 3 to friends. So she's going to give away 3. And she has 9 left over. So what's left, or what the result is 9. C minus 3 equals 9 is the equation that would represent that word problem. Okay, so let's see. Important things regarding multiplication and division when using variables. Okay, remember that when we talked about fractions, we said that the fraction bar means divided by. So an equation like 4 divided by 3 would look like 4 fraction bar 3. We would read this 4 divided by 3. With a variable, it could be a number divided by 6. So it would be a number divided by 6. Again, that fraction bar means divided by. So you're going to see it both as a fraction or as a division problem. Also, with multiplication, you're going to see the x written a little bit differently than a multiplication sign, and usually you don't see things like 3 times x. What you will see instead is just 3 in that funny looking x. When this number is right next to a variable, this means multiplied. So this means 3 multiplied by x. Later on, you may even see it with a dot in between, 3 dot x. And again, the reasoning for that is because when we put variables in, we don't want to confuse the multiplication sign with the variable. It can get really confusing, especially if you're using x regularly. Okay, so that's important for you to know. Let me see. Make sure there's nothing else I've missed. Okay, remember that if you have any questions, please come in and see me, and I will be more than happy to help you.